guys, and welcome to episode 28 of the Books, Hooks and Yarn knitting podcast. I'm Crystal, and as you can probably hear by the rain, I live in southeast Melbourne, Victoria, Australia with my husband, our two daughters, our 12-year-old cat Peaches, and our 6-month-old, maybe 7-month-old, I will have to double check that, sausage dog cross chocolate lab, and her name is Jasmine. She's a bit of a cutie patootie. She'll probably make a guest appearance at some point if she hasn't gone to have a nap somewhere, or she could be doing naughty dog stuff and be out in the rain. She likes to do that too. All right, today is Friday, thank goodness. Another week of work has been done. It is must be the 15th today because my birthday's in a week. It's the 15th of October today, and I'm here with a nice hot cup of coffee. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I normally have one at about 3, but I was finishing up some work and stuff, so I didn't get a chance to stop. So here I am with my late afternoon coffee that will get me through till bedtime. I actually might have one later tonight, but I'll tell you why later. And I have a table full of things here to show you. I have done so much knitting in the last week, so much knitting. And yet I have like nothing substantial to show you. I don't understand how that happens. I know 7 days is not a lot of time to get knitting done, especially when you work 5 of those 7 days. But I honestly thought I would have finished objects for you this week. What happened? Shawlography happened. This is my first time doing a Stephen West pattern. I do have the 52 Weeks of Shawls book, and he does have a shawl in that, and I thought that would be my first Stephen West pattern. But as it turns out, I read the intro for the Shawlography mystery knit along this year, and I was really taken by how well written it was, and you could kind of feel the excitement from the words in the document. It was amazing. And so I decided to join in this year. And yeah, that's basically where a lot of my time has went this week. Actually, it wasn't too bad, I will say that. I thought I would be knitting right up until tonight when Clue 2 drops, but I finished this morning, and the only reason I didn't finish days earlier is because I ended up with a migraine, and I had my second COVID vaccination, and I had like just some body aches and stuff, and the body aches went up my neck and in my shoulders, so I felt like I couldn't have my head down to knit for 2 days. So I didn't. Actually, that's a lie. I did knit on a garter shawl that I'm doing, but I just kept my head up the whole time because I didn't have to look down to see what I was doing. But let me show you, spoilers alert. Although if you are knitting Shawlography, you've probably already seen the end product because, as I said, Clue 2 drops tonight. So unless you're really behind and you're being really good and not looking ahead, this probably won't be a spoiler for you, but I will say it anyway. If you do not want to see the end result of Clue number 1, look away now. Come back in about 100,000 minutes when I've stopped gushing about it. Yeah, so here we go. This is Clue number 1, all finished. It is probably it is the most interesting and stunning thing I have knitted ever. So, I mean, that's not saying a lot. I knit a lot of socks. So, yeah, but look at that. I have never done so much of this stuff. So it's a paid for pattern, obviously. I don't want to give a lot away. And I don't know if the YouTube video that came with the first Clue is like public or anything. So I don't really know. But yeah, you cast on with this little wedge down here with your first color. And then we had to do an I-cord, and I've never done an I-cord before. That was an experience. Simple in theory, but I struggle knitting with few stitches. If you gave me 800 something stitches and said, here, knit all these, I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problems. That's relaxing. Give me 3 and I'm like, really? Do I have to do this? This is just, I have long fingers and big hands and it's just fiddly. Especially on bigger needles with a bigger cable, I'd rather do it on like sock needles. So yeah, we did the I-cord and then we had to pick up stitches and we had to start all these beautiful wedge pieces. Now you can't see it because I haven't blocked it. I think I will be, depending on how Clue 2 goes. I might give it a little steam block, but there's actually colours in there. How beautiful is that going to look when it's all blocked out? So there's all of my different colors are in there. When I was knitting these wedges, I was getting a bit concerned still about this speckled and this pink not standing out from each other, but they ended up doing beautifully later on. So I'm not concerned anymore. You do the wedges, you do the slip stitch part, you do 45 little tiny I-cord loops. Oh my gosh, I sat up till 1 o'clock this morning trying to get them done. I got halfway done. So I did 23 and went, okay, you dropped 2 stitches, the same stitch twice in the last loop on loop 23. Maybe it's time to go to bed and not push and try to get it all done like this morning. So I finished up this morning while I was having my coffee and checking some emails and stuff. So that worked out perfectly. I ended up going, so you're supposed to knit it on a 3.5. I ended up going 2 needle sizes and knitting on a 4 because, which is a US 6, because I was already knitting a garter shawl, the grain shawl by 10K Knits, and that's knit on 3.5mm needles as well. So I was able to use that to measure my gauge because it's 3.5mm needles on fingering weight yarn, which is exactly what this is supposed to be. I measured my gauge and it was supposed to be 22 stitches for 10 centimeters, I think, and I had 28. So I sized up. I probably could have gone up a bit more, to be honest, because I feel like mine is much smaller than others I have seen. But that could also be they've blocked it out before they've taken their photo, or yeah, I know I'm a tight knitter, but the size he said it's going to be big or bigger. So I'm not exactly stressed this is going to be too small to wear. So yeah, and in typical Stephen fashion, I'm saying yes, don't stress, and just going with it. Like, I'm sure there'll be options to make it bigger if you want to. We know how much Stephen West loves a big shawl. So yeah, this is my little baby Clue 1 done, and we're gonna have a cast on, well, not cast on party, I guess Clue 2 party tonight with my online knitting friends, and we'll see how much of that we get done. The first night the Clue dropped at like 20 to 10. The first person in our group got it. Straight away we were sharing screens, casting on. I was sitting there knitting on something else. They're like, okay, so we cast on 3. I was like, wait, what? We're getting started. Okay, hold on. Grab all my stuff. So on my Instagram, which is Bookshooksandyarn, I have labeled all the yarns. So let's start with, we might try and work it through on this section here. So the purple is dyed by me on a Nundle Woollen Mills sock yarn base. I just dyed that. It's called Deja. The grey slip stitches here are dyed by hand. Is that correct? Dyed by hand yarns, I'm fairly certain. And it's called Fog Bound. It's their tough stocking sock base. The light speckles is Delicate on a sock base by Maximu Yarns. The pink is Shell by Dragonfly Yarn on her 7525, I'm pretty sure, sock base. And the blue is Mel from Down Under Dyer. It's her Night Sky colorway, which was like one of my favorites because look at that. I didn't realize that she actually told me it's a bunch of neons over dyed with the blue, and that's why you get these really vibrant pops of color through it. Because yeah, I don't know how else you would achieve what she did, but it looks stunning. I absolutely love it. And I have it on multiple bases. I've got it on a DK fingering. Oh no, the other one I gave away in a wool swap. That's okay. I bought it for the wool swap. I didn't just take it from my stash, but I forgot that I bought that for wool swap instead of for myself. But yes, I'm in love with it. I can't wait to see what Clue 2 is, because I don't understand what the loops are going to be for. I'm very curious to find out what we end up doing with them. It's going to be very interesting. So yeah. All right, I currently have it all stashed in a big project bag, and I'm trying to think of who made it. They're not making them anymore, so it's a bit of a, I'll put it down here because I have to look it up on my Etsy. But yeah, I've got it all in here and it does fit quite comfortably, but I do have a bigger project bag coming that I'm hoping will fit in. If not, I have another bag that I have bought that I can put it into, and I've got a Jubbly pin on there. We Are the Weirdos, Mister. I love that movie. Yeah, So that's good old Stephen West. Pop that up there nice and safe. Have like a sip of coffee because it is freezing here. This weather is terrible. So I'm sorry about the lighting. I have a little bit of overcast natural light coming from here and the rest is artificial. Not great. We don't have very strong lighting in our lounge room because, you know, a lot of the time lounge rooms we watch TV and stuff. So, and I don't like using the ring light anymore because I can't wear my glasses if I do that. So that's that was a lot of my knitting. I got all of my wedges done by Sunday evening, and then I just had the slip stitch parts and the loops to go, and I just worked on those throughout the week. Monday I had work and I ended up with migraine, and Tuesday I had my vaccination, so I actually don't think I started knitting on the slip stitch V section until Thursday. Was that only yesterday? It must have been. Yeah, and then I sat up and did half the loops. So it didn't take me long at all. So that's great. All right, so the shawl that helped me figure out my gauge. Who'd have thought I'd ever have 2 shawls going at once? I have knit shawls before, but I've never been like a prolific shawl knitter. I've made quite a bit of progress on this. This was my sore from my vaccine knitting. I could have knit on socks, but I was doing the ribbing for one pair and a heel for another, and I just couldn't look down to do that, so I knit on this instead. So last time I showed you, I think I'd done 2 rows of the purple, and now I've finished the purple, finished the pink, finished the grey. I'm about to join the yellow one. So let me see if I can, it's on a very long cable. I'm pretty sure this is my 100cm cable, but it's still squished up a bit. So this is the Grain Shawl by Tin Can Knits. If I just pop that up there, you can see how pretty it is. I'm loving these colours in here. So that's where I was up to last time with my little rainbow from the Lovely Yarns AU, and a spider from Obsession Yarns that's been on there for so long. I should probably change it over for something else, but I really do love the spider. So yeah, it's getting quite big. That's my wrong side. You don't want to see that side. I don't want to see that side. There we go. It's getting big now. So I don't even know if I can. Oh, it's getting, yeah, it's getting there. I don't think it's quite big enough yet. I want this to be quite large. I haven't decided if this is going to be for me or if I'm going to end up gifting this yet, so I am kind of making it as big as possible to make it suitable for anyone. I am adding, just trying to shuffle through. Oh, it is in here. It's just come unwound a little bit. I'm adding this sparkly yellow on it next, so that will look quite nice, I think, next to the grey. And then I'm going back to the main colour. So I think I've talked about this quite a lot, but for those that are new, A, welcome, and B, I'll quickly run through the yarns again. So the main colour is Empathy by Dragonfly Yarn. They're on Etsy. I'll link everything below, I always do. But it's a beautiful, this is all fingering weight yarn. Pretty sure 75-25, fairly certain, but can't say 100%. So if I'm wrong, I always correct myself down here. But if I don't correct myself, that means I was right. My brain functioned for once. So that's Empathy. And then I had these glitter minis from Melbourne City Dye Works, and there was 5 of them, and I bought this colour to go with them, and it went with most of them, but there was a red one in there that I just didn't want to put in because I'm not a huge red person. So I switched out the red and a beautiful goldy brown colour that was in there because I thought they would be perfect for Christmas socks. And in the place of those, I put in a random grey mini that I had in my stash that I just threw on the floor because I forgot it's attached to the shawl. Let's pick that up. That's just how my Friday's going. So it's a grey mini. I have no idea where it came from or who it's from. I just assumed it was fingering weight yarn because it felt like fingering weight yarn and it knitted up like fingering weight yarn, so that's fine. And I have a purple as well, which is also a random, not sure where it came from type of a deal. I think it possibly was a freebie from Liz from Yarns by the Bay. She sends a little mini every time she sends yarn orders, and possibly it's from her, but I'm not 100% certain. So yeah, they have all worked out quite nicely. I can't wait I'll probably knit on that while I'm waiting for clue number 2 to drop tonight. Actually, no, I won't. I have something more important to knit on. I also knit on this when I put my kids to bed, because I can take it to their rooms and we have like really low light lamps in their rooms for them to sleep with. And I knit on this in that low light because I know I can do that without making mistakes. So yeah, I'm knitting that on 3.5mm. That's my Chowgoo, every time, interchangeable set. And I have it in this gigantic bag. Well, it's not gigantic, but it's quite roomy. This is made by Aunt Donna. It was one of my first project bags I ever purchased, and it's got a bookworm badge on it from Jubbly Umph because I'm kind of obsessed with their pins. All right, that's those two. Last but not least, this is a free little project bag I got from Pauline of Melbourne City Dye Works. She sent it with my order, which was so lovely and surprised me so much. I think I actually started crying because I tend to do that a lot when I get surprises in my orders. Sorry, I got one this week and it's making me tear up again. I'm good, sorry. So I am working on a test knit for a friend, and last week I showed you a photo of the headband that I did for my gauge swatch, and I gave it to my bunny, and she absolutely, well, she hasn't actually worn it since that photo because I haven't woven the ends in. So yeah, but I made some pretty good progress on it. I did 10 centimeters of ribbing in one day. Look at that. How fuzzy is it? I don't even know if you can see the halo on that, but this is the fuzziest mohair I have ever worked with. This is Blondie Fluff, I'm fairly certain, by, oh, I might actually be organized to have the tags in here. No way. Blondie in the Fluff base by Oyster Yarns. It is 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, 420 meters to 50 grams. It's just the most beautiful color. Look how fluffy it is. I was wearing black pants and a black t-shirt for work the other day and was knitting on this. It was not black by the end of it. And the other beautiful cream colored fingering weight yarn I'm using is Almond on Liz from Yarns by the way, her sock base, deluxe sock base, sorry. So 85% superwash extra fine merino, 15% nylon, 100 grams, I'm so sorry, excuse me, 400 meters. So I'll pop those back in there so I don't forget them. Now what I'm loving about this pattern, without giving anything away, although I think Astrid said, oh, this is Astrid by the way, Wattle and Wool. Her designs are absolutely beautiful. I've purchased a couple of them and they are sitting waiting for that perfect yarn before I can knit them up. Although speaking of that, I've recently got some that might be good for a cowl that she's designed. Anyway, I digress. I love it because I get to do needle, like 2-needle cabling instead of with a cable needle, but I also do cabling with a needle, an extra needle. So I like that I get both. So you can see it's got this beautiful cable happening here, but in the other sections, that's where I'm doing the cable-free cabling. So cable-free, needle-free cabling, where I just use my 2 needles. And they're both just so pretty. So yes, I will knit on that tonight while I'm waiting for Clue 2 to drop. I like the grain shawl because I knit on that when I need a pattern-free bit of knitting, whereas at the moment I am knitting quite a few patterned objects. So I've got this to follow, obviously Shawlography is a pattern, my kitty socks are a pattern, which is probably why I've kind of put them to the side, and my brioche hat is a pattern as well, which, I mean, it's kind of in the repetitive stage at the moment, so it's not so bad. But yeah, I've got my beautiful stitch markers. This little bee was free from Liz with my most recent order, which I really need to stop buying yarn. And then I've got a ghost on here. This is from Just a Little Corgi. I think I showed them to you last week. I've been using all my Halloween stitch markers since last week. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I can't wait to see the finished product because I think it is quite pretty. Not really sure when I need to have it finished by, but I'm hoping to have it done in the next week because it it's not a slow knit, like it does knit up quite fast. I did all this ribbing and this section all in one like day, so yeah. And then obviously I was finishing up my Shawlography, so I will knit on that tonight and see how much more I can get done. There we go. Pop that away. I hate this. Oh, I've got one tiny little bit of sock knitting to show you, and the only reason I brought it over is because I wanted your opinion on something. Oh, mouthful of coffee. Okay, so my daughter's Scheepjes socks that I was knitting on, I have a bit of a problem. So I have finished the first sock, which I showed you last week. Seriously procrastinated on casting on the second because I'm not a huge fan of casting on. If someone just gave me like the first 2 rounds done and said, here, knit a sock, I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problems. Speaking of, Madeline from Mad About You has got a sock knitting machine, and she's going to be doing an Etsy shop once she gets established and everything and learns how to do it all properly. Then she's going to crank people's yarn to tubes, and I think she's going to have a very loyal customer. Because my favourite part is cutting in heels, toes and cuffs. So yeah, I'm just going to be sending bundles of yarn. Yeah, so I finished that sock. Finally cast on the second one. So I've got 2 seconds. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rounds of the cuff done. I noticed that my little itty bitty ball of yarn is getting very small. I'm not a huge fan of yarn chicken. I weighed it and I only have 7 grams left. Assuming I had 20 to go, 20 to start with, sorry. Which I'm not 100% confident I did. I should actually check that. Did I? Yes, I did have 20 grams to start with. That means I've already used 13 and I still need to knit the rest of the cuff, a heel and a toe. So the bit I wanted your opinion on is, can I sub this color in on the heel without it being like a huge deal? My daughter won't care. I'm trying to convince myself I won't care. Do I knit as much as possible with this one and then just sub this one in maybe for like the last few rounds? So I don't know. I guess I will have to figure that out. But so they're very similar, but this one doesn't have the speckles that this one does. Other than that, they are a very similar color. Do you think I'm gonna get away with it? I'm not convinced, but I don't know if I'm gonna have much choice. So yeah, I suppose I will keep knitting on those and try and figure it out. That is all of my knitting content. And if you guys aren't interested, I feel like I need to do this disclaimer every week now since I talked about it last week. If you aren't interested in seeing, that's not all of my knitting. I cast something on today because I was sitting there, I finished my Shawlography. I was knitting on this cuff and I was like, I don't really feel like knitting the ribbing for a sock. So naturally I cast on a shirt that has 5 different layered rounds of ribbing for the yoke. Makes sense? Okay, the reason I cast this top on is because of my recent purchases. Sorry, I dropped my yarn again. So I will start with that disclaimer. If you're not interested in seeing things that I have purchased recently from Aussie yarn dyers, now is your chance to leave, because later is just a bit of blather about what I've been doing, which isn't much because I've been knitting Shawlography. That's completely up to you. If you are leaving, thank you so much. I will see you next week, hopefully with another section of my shawl finished. Probably not. I'm pretty sure this is the time when I'm going to fall behind everything. So yeah. Okay, so now that's out of the way. Mel from Down and Die had a shop update on Friday night, and we're all like getting ready for knit night, and I said to Mum, he's like, what? I'm like, Mel's update has gone live 7 minutes ago and I haven't been on there to buy my Halloween minis. He's like, why are you so like worried? I'm like, they could be sold out. Luckily they won't. I managed to end up with 3 of these because I have plans for them, that's why. So this is the Halloween 21 mini set. Let me see if I can remember the names from when Mel posted about them. I'm pretty sure this is Black Cat, Bloodwood, Witch's Brew. Not too sure about these two. I might have to put it down below. But yes, they're very beautiful colors. So you've got a blue, black, purple. It's like a really dark mauve. It's like a reddy pink and an orange. They remind me so much of Halloween, like witches' stockings. But also not the Halloween colors I'm used to seeing like commercially, because that's normally like purple, green, orange, and black. Is that right? I think that's right. I'm not sure. But I love them so much. That's why I grabbed 3. And the reason I was telling you about this is because I decided to use a set and cast on, oops, sorry, the wrong way, the Ankers, I'm going to draw a total blank now. It could be the Ankers Summer Tee. I will correct myself below if I'm wrong. It's the one with like the 5 rounds of ribbing in the yoke, and it looks really pretty. And yeah, that's the one I'm doing. It's in a fingering weight because there's 2, one's in DK and one's in fingering. This is the one I'm doing in fingering, and I started it today. That's my wrong side, this is my right side. So I've only done, I think I've done 8 rounds of the ribbing for the first lot. Do 14, I think. And I've got a little Halloween stitch marker on there. Starting with the orange, because orange is like the one that's hard to partner up. And my plan was I was going to use these minis plus the Maleficent one-of-a-kind colourway that I also grabbed, because why not? I love Maleficent. I actually love the Maleficent movies. I just watched the second one the other day. So I was going to put those together. I was like, perfect. It's so witchy and Halloweeny. Showed it to my daughter because she's the one I'm knitting it for, the almost 7-year-old. And she was like, oh, I like it, but I don't love it. And I'm like, oh, well, I've got some other minis and other main colors here you can choose. But I would like it to be like really Halloweeny themed. So she ended up picking most of the colors from Mel's mini set. So she's sticking with the orange, and then she is going with this green. That was a mini that came with my September mystery self-striping sock club from Rainbows and Sprinkles. The blue, the purple, the dark mauvey color, and this half-baked hand-dyed skein of the black rose. So those plus the orange. Let me see if I can. So 1, 2, yep. And the orange. I think that's the order she's going in. I did take a photo, so for reference, so I don't have to keep asking her all the time. So I might pop it in here if I need to. That's definitely going to be the main color. So each mini, I'm hoping to get a set of ribbing done. There are increases, so not sure how that'll work, but we'll give it a go. She's not going to care if it's not exactly matched up. So the reason she changed it is because she didn't want the black mini. So that's why she swapped in the green. And I'm not mad about not knitting with black yarn, to be honest. So yeah, those are going to be her Ankers Summer Tee, I'm fairly certain. So yeah, I think she's going to love it. I'm hoping to have it done by Halloween, but who knows? Maybe next Halloween. And I'm keeping all of this, well, I'm going to be keeping all of this, I haven't put it in there yet, in a recent purchase that I made. Patil Knits opened today. That reminds me, I need to get on and buy a bag. They are stunning project bags, so much bigger than I expected. But they had a pre-launch Halloween special on last week, and I jumped on and grabbed a couple of bags, and a notions pouch was sent to me as well, which is lovely because I really need notions pouches and I find them hard to get. I ordered 2 sizes. I've dropped my yarn again. Considering I have big hands, I think I need bigger hands. I grabbed a large and a medium, and they're huge. This is the medium. It's massive. And this is the large. I could fit my head in there. My head in the medium. So I'm going to keep my daughter's shirt in the medium because it fits. There is plenty of room in there. And look, it's Halloween themed. So this is Patil Knits. Their shop has opened today. So I highly recommend you jump on there and have a look because the bags are stunning. Look at that. Beautiful. So beautiful drawstring, really good handle, and there's pockets on the inside too. It's fully lined. So I will be jumping on straight after this and buying some more bags. Hopefully they haven't all sold out. I keep saying sorry. It's because I didn't do show notes this week. I feel a bit unorganized. So that's what I purchased from, no, that's not all I purchased from Mel. I also grabbed another skein of her light Magnolia Speckle, but I grabbed it on a DK because I am trying to increase my DK stash. It's looking a bit sad. That's not all DK up there. Unfortunately, most of my DK stash is mohair. So yeah, this is a stunning yarn. I haven't knit it up yet, but I've seen Ali from Fiberbound knit a pair of socks with the sock weight one. And I think I'm going to have to knit the same ones because it did look really stunning and it showed the yarn off perfectly. So yeah, I don't know what this particular skein will end up being, but it's too pretty to not have. And I will knit it up into something because Mel's yarn knits up beautifully, which I know, or I wouldn't have used it in the Shawlography. And I think that's why I keep going back to her shop, because I know the quality of her yarn is just astounding, and it's worth the money you spend on hand-dyed yarn when it's good quality. So that's it from what I bought from Mel, but she also sent me this highlight bright mini set for an early birthday present. So you've got this bright yellow, this beautiful green, purple, pink and blue. My daughter is already eyeing this off, but no, this will be mine. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to make with it yet. I could do like striping socks. These are so bright, they would be beautiful socks, but I also love the idea of using it to stripe into something and make it look really bright and beautiful. I don't wear enough brights, especially this pink and this. Oh, I just love them all. So yeah, thank you very much, Mel. I love it. Put that one down, otherwise I'm going to sit here and play with it the whole time. I also buy a lot of yarn, but a lot of the time the reason I'm buying yarn is because I do wool swap every 2 months, and it seems like a long time in between. Like, you only need to buy yarn every 2 months, Crystal, why are you buying so much yarn? By the time you get your partner's details and start putting your orders in and get it all together and ship it off and you receive yours, it's basically time to start the cycle all over again. So I buy a lot of yarn from my favorite dyers. I do like to go through people's Ravelry stashes first and make sure I'm not going to double up on dyers. But I find a lot of the ones I send them, they don't have in their stash yet. So I always grab yarn from Liz, from Yarns by the Bay. I almost always grab yarn from Mel because I love her yarn. And I also almost always, it depends on like what colours people have got in their shops and what, sorry, that's my dog. I told you she'd make a surprise appearance. Jazz, come here. Come on. Come here. Oh, there's my princess. Oh, there we go. Depends on what colours people have in their shops and what colours my wool swap partner prefers. This time around, it's everything but pink. People have a lot of pink in their shops at the moment, so it was a little bit of a struggle. But I managed. And sometimes I'll go into my stash and I might grab a skein out of something that was an impulse purchase. I don't have a lot of those. Like, I do buy yarn just because I want it, not always because I have a pattern in mind. But a lot of the time, if I don't have like a garment in mind or a shawl, it ends up becoming socks. I have a lot of sock yarn. So, yeah. I have loved everything I've received in my wool swaps so far, so that's been great, and I've knit quite a bit of it. But yeah, I always try to grab my favorite dyers. So Down Under Dyer, Yarns by the Bay. In the one I'm sending currently, I also have, who else did I get? Oh, I popped a ball of self-striping from Colourway Collective because I did my first order, and I got those beautiful stitch markers I sent off in a prize last week, and I grabbed a skein of, or a ball of self-striping yarn that wasn't really in my colours deliberately, so I could start sort of building up a wool swap stash to send off, because with postage at the moment, I'm still waiting for things to arrive that I need to send off in this package, and it's getting a bit frustrating. Yes, baby. I also send a lot of Stitchcraft and Wizardry. And just trying to think of who else I have a lot of in my stash. I send a lot. Oh, Yarn by Jane. I send a lot of Yarn by Jane as well. Oh. She's got a bow now. Yeah. So yeah, I love doing wool swap. It's amazing. But yeah, the reason I was telling you about that, it's total sidetrack, sorry, and I got distracted by Jazzy Snuggles. Do you want to maybe just sit on my lap instead of, there we go. Is because I bought stuff from Liz for my wool swap, but I also grabbed stuff for myself. I wanted to knit another pair of DK weight shorty socks that I've made before. I made them from Liz's DK sock yarn. It's kind of difficult to find DK sock yarn. There's a lot of DK yarn out of there, but not with the nylon in it. Yes, I know. So I just realized half my label is misprinted. It is 85% superwash fine merino and 15% nylon for the DK sock yarn. And I knitted in an eggshell colorway, I think, last time, and my mum stole them. Like, I literally finished them. She tried them on and she took them. So I need to knit myself another pair. Are you okay? What's wrong? So I grabbed this garland, which I'm hoping will knit up and look a little bit Christmassy, because I always get really cold. I'm sorry, she is being a total sook right now, and I love it. I'm hoping they'll knit up a bit Christmassy, because I get really cold feet, especially on Christmas morning. I always have cold feet. Do you just want to, are you going to take over the podcast for me? Because you're covering up my face a lot. And of course on there, I couldn't resist getting this Inca Vienna sock yarn. So I love pink. I say I don't wear a lot of pink. This is like my only pink item in my wardrobe. And yeah. Okay, you're in my top now. It's a bit inappropriate, Jasmine. Okay. But I do have a lot of pink yarn, so I'm hoping I will be knitting more pink items for my wardrobe. Okay. Other things I have purchased have been the Mystery Self-Striping Sock Yarn Club from Rainbows and Sprinkles, which I showed you the light green mini came for the September one. I'm just going to pop it down, Jazz, because I need to reach over. I know you don't want to. It's okay. So the light green mini, dog though. The light green mini that came with the September one, I showed you with my bear's Halloween top that I'm going to make her. So that was this one. So this came with this beautiful cake of yarn. So those go together, but obviously they're not going to, because I'm going to be using the light green for this top. Back in the Halloween bag. And it came with so many little goodies. Sorry, so I got some beautiful flower needle toppers and some tea, which I will drink because it's peppermint. Some Eucalyptus jasmine. It's jasmine. And this beautiful sock badge from Yarnia, which is Stitchcraft and Wizardry's yarn shop in Western Australia. So they are all beautiful gifts. And then that was super delayed because of Australia Post. Literally 2 days later, I got the October one. So that was quite funny. And look at this. This is the October self-striping one, which of course is Halloween themed. And I'm not mad about it. Look at that. So that's more of the ones that I see in the shops, like the Halloween colors. Oh, that's a better side. The purple, green, and orange. Very bright, very, if I like walk into Coles, these are the colors that they've got for all their decorations at the moment, which is really cool. So I'm actually thinking of using one of like the black mini that my daughter didn't want to use for her top, I'm thinking of using that with this to make them really spooky. So yeah, and there's some ghost needle toppers, and it came with a Halloween lollipop, which my daughter stole, and a soy wax melt, which was white chocolate scented, and my daughter thought it was white chocolate. That was interesting. I had a bit of a laugh over that. And the mini that it came with is this beautiful dark green. I don't think I'm going to use them together, but this is a very beautiful dark green, and I will be using it for something. Not sure what yet, but I have lots of yarn, so I'm sure I have something it will match. I'm looking around at my table right here and making sure I have covered everything. Only other thing I've been doing lately is I dried some lavender a few weeks ago. I took a photo of it, I think on my Instagram, or maybe it's just my lavender bushes, and I said I needed to pick some to dry lavender for my yarn cupboard. So I bundled up the lavender that I cut and I hung it upside down for a week or a week and a half, and yesterday was Thursday, it must have been Tuesday or Wednesday, I decided it was time to pull it down and put it into bags. So these organza bags that I've got actually come from Liz from Yarns by the Bay. She does a lot of organza bags with her orders. So I've got a big one and a little one. So the big one is for my yarn cupboard. So just a nice big bag. I've got 2 of these in there. It smells so good, and my yarn cupboard smells amazing every time I open the doors now. And I did 2 little ones as well, and I'm actually popping them into my Wool Swap Partners package. So when she opens it, it will smell all lavendery and gorgeous. And hopefully she can stick them to her stash and help keep the bugs away, because there are moths everywhere. Don't think I would have noticed it if I didn't have a yarn stash, but now I'm just like, oh, get out of my house. I don't kill them, I just collect them and put them back outside, because my dog will kill them anyway if I leave them inside, because she likes to jump on the bugs. Don't you? Yes, you do. I think that's it, guys. I feel like I chatted a lot, sorry. No, I'm not sorry, because this is where I come to talk about my knitting and stuff. So I'm not sorry that I talked a lot. I'm sorry if I babbled a lot. I'm not sorry about talking about the knitting stuff, because that's kind of why we come here. To celebrate a big love of knitting in a very small space on the internet. I have done nothing except work. I haven't read any books. None, like, unless you count my daughter's readers at the end of each day. And what have I been, I have been watching a series on Netflix called Pretty Smart. If you remember Hannah Montana, her best friend was played by an actress called Emily Osment, and she is now in a series about living with her sister and 3 roommates, and 3, and it's just really light and I really enjoyed it. So I got through the whole season in a week. Probably could have done it in less than that, because they're not long episodes, but I was working and doing like adult stuff, which is but yeah, it was really funny and really interesting. And the way they left it, I was like waiting for the next episode to start loading. I was like, oh, there's not another episode, what am I going to do? Luckily Jane Eyre has been uploaded to Netflix, so I'm probably going to watch that over the weekend, because it's rare that I get to sit down and watch a whole movie in one go with my loin fruit. I don't know, what do we call them? Small people? No, we can't call them that. Young, no. Demon offspring. Little angels, some days. Depends on whether or not they want chocolate. No, they're wonderful kids. I know probably should cut that part out. They actually are really wonderful kids. I really adore them, and I could spend every moment with them. But they need to leave me alone when I'm counting my stitches. Speaking of kids, they're starting to emerge, so I better go edit this and do some knitting on Astrid's beanie before tonight, and I better order some dinner too, because it's Friday night. We always do takeaway for Friday nights. Alright, have a wonderful week. I will see you next week with a very behind shawl, I have a feeling. That's fine. Say yes, don't stress. It's not a race, go at your own pace. Thank you, Stephen West. Right, until then, I hope you are all staying safe and looking after yourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, all of that, because it is so important, and so are you. Bye.